Spring is in the air at Global Voice Broadcasting. Fresh new shows are hitting the airwaves every day. Shows about all the things that matter to you in your life. Music, fashion, celebs, and more. It's all here, and it's getting better every day. Only at Global Voice Broadcasting.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, The Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, yours truly, Kennon Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. Welcome, everybody. I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
And my name is Kennon Wesley Mason. I am your co-host, and I want to welcome all of you from all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And we're going to bring you a really good show today, as our special guest will be Evelyn Arrington.
And we are going to talk about cool mornings. That's not M-O-R-I-N-G-S, it's M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G-S. The perplexities, enduring the perplexities of life. And we're here along with our sports therapy commentator, Robert Snell, and we're going to have Ken to take it away. And as he says, what are we doing around the world? Because we are global.
Yes, as we're taking you home here on the Western Hemisphere, we may be waking you up and taking you to work on the Eastern Hemisphere. So again, welcome to all of you listening and watching all over the world.
Yes, all over the world. And
Yes.
we have this great show and a great guest, Miss Minister Evelyn Arrington, who will be joining us shortly on the show. And we're going to help you to uncomplicate your life today.
Yes.
Because a lot of us do have baggage and garbage that we carry around that we really don't have to carry around. So we're going to talk about those things today.
Yes, but first, it's sports therapy with Robert Snell. Robert, take it away.
Thank you, Kennon.
Yeah.
So as many of you know, this weekend was NBA All-Star Weekend. And TNT carried the event for the association. On Saturday, we had the three-point competition. Steph Curry ended up winning it. It was a mostly uneventful, honestly, thing. Kyle Korver, Marco Benelli, Klay Thompson, and a few others highlighted the event along with Steph, but he was really the only one who found his stroke during the competition and won it easily.
Mr. Splash himself.
Yeah, the Splash Brother. He took the cake. And then the three-point competition was followed by the dunk contest.
Yep.
And the contestants this year were Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks, Mason Plumlee, a center from the Brooklyn Nets, Victor Oladipo of the Orlando Magic, and Zach LaVine, the rookie out of UCLA who plays on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mm-hmm. And now, for those of you that watched the event, you'll notice that this year they really, really encouraged creativity and fanfare and almost showmanship. They were graded on the aesthetics of the competition. So the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo, he actually opened up the competition, and he came out with army of girls dressed in togas and carrying the Greek flag, and it was really a spectacle.
Yeah, it was an all-out show.
Yeah, it was. And unfortunately, his dunk didn't match his introduction, as he actually missed all three of his dunk attempts and received a 6 rating across the board. Quite anticlimactic.
Right.
And then he was followed by Mason Plumlee, who is actually a 7-footer. And I mentioned this because typically centers aren't known for showboating dunks. They're more of a two-hander who'll just flush it down.
That's right.
And it kind of showed. He attempted to dunk over his younger brother, Miles Plumlee. And Miles is a tall man, and it showed because Mason actually had to boost himself using his hand to get over him.
So you can get that extra inch.
Yeah, and it really honestly took away a lot of the spectacle of the dunk. It really made it kind of, just run-of-the-mill.
Boring.
Exactly. Yeah. And then luckily, though, right when it seemed all hope was lost, Victor Oladipo came along. And the local kid was the first one to really make his mark on the show. He actually opened up by coming out in a kind of tuxedo getup, and he actually sang Frank Sinatra's New York, New York. And not gonna lie, the man has vocals. Like, I'm not saying get him to a record label, but he didn't make a fool of himself, and that's more than I could say.
Right.
He actually did. And then, unlike Giannis, who came out with all the fanfare and then whiffed, Oladipo's first dunk was actually a 540 baseline rim rocker that really got everyone out of their seats. So it was kind of the first electric moment of the night and really kind of got the show started. And then once Oladipo got them warmed up, that was all Zach LaVine needed to come and steal the thunder.
Yes.
Yeah. Zach LaVine actually got real creative. He came out with an entrance by the Quad City DJs, who, if you're not familiar with them, did the theme song for Space Jam. And they actually did a live performance of Space Jam before that.
Wow.
While they were performing, Zach put on a Michael Jordan Space Jam jersey featuring the Toon Squad, and then proceeded to do a between-the-legs dunk that he almost hit his head on the rim. It was...
Right.
If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go on YouTube or ESPN.
Yeah, go on YouTube, and that's where I got to see it, because I had to miss the entire NBA All-Star Weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to check the dunk contest out on YouTube, and yeah, all of his dunks were like over the top. And when you see it in slow motion, it's like he all he was focused on was that rim. Usually when you see people try to do acrobatics while they're in motion, going in the air, they have to look and think and do this. For him, it just flowed like water.
He put his physical talents on display. That man can leap like I've never seen before. He literally glides and floats through the air. It's like, it's art.
And he made it look effortless, and it was art.
Exactly.
It was.
Yeah, and just touching on the dunk competition, I think part of the problem is throughout the years we've seen Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, so many legends go out and dunks. That they're kind of running out of new dunk ideas, which is why I think now they added in the showmanship thing, because to try to keep it original and new, fresh. Yeah, exactly. You need to add a new element in.
You have to. I mean, nowadays the dunk contest, I mean, you can go back to the days of Dominique Wilkins and
the originals.
when Jordan and Dominique would go at it, or when you had a 5'7" Spud Webb win back in '86. I mean, who would have ever thought,
Right.
Now, because everyone's used almost every dunk you can imagine, you have to bring something more to the table now to make it exciting for the crowd, because let's face it, the NBA All-Star Game is a weekend spectacle.
Right.
So you have to do things now to draw that crowd in. And do you have any statistics on what the numbers were for the ratings?
I do. For the All-Star Game on Sunday, that actually received a 5.5 rating, and that's been getting a lot of attention today. I'll actually talk into the details of the All-Star Game first. So it was the West versus Eastern Conference, obviously, and the West won 163 to 158. And you heard me correctly, that was 163.
That was a high-scoring game, and I didn't see it all because I fell asleep on it.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that you called it a high-scoring game, because is it really a game? It almost, for those of you who actually watched it like I did, and I honestly only watched it because I needed to make sure there wasn't anything I would have to talk about for it.
Because you got to give the therapeutic part of it for sports therapy, so you got to watch it.
Got to give the people what they want.
That's right.
But anyways, honestly, it's a bunch of one-on-one basketball, but there's no defender, so it's really kind of one-on-none.
That's right.
When you see Dirk Nowitzki and Pau Gasol converting alley-oop dunks, it really lets you know, how much it is. It's really honestly just kind of more of a marketing thing. These guys get a lot of PR out of it. It's good for them. They have fun with it. No one.
I look at it as it's almost like an exhibition game, similar to what the Harlem Globetrotters would do.
That's a much better,
you have your best players. They're not going to go all out, obviously. I mean, you're in mid-season. You're not going to go all out. You're playing with people that you're probably going to go against tomorrow. And,
Right.
And so and no one's going to risk getting hurt.
Yeah.
During an all-star game. The people want to see all these acrobatic things. Dirk Nowitzki throwing an alley or
Receiving it out, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from Pau Gasol. I mean, you're never going to see that anywhere else. So I mean, it is a show. You get to see the NBA players in a form where they're mostly just having fun with it more than anything else.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And that I think everyone takes it lightly, treats it that way.
Which is why you have a high-scoring game.
Right.
Right.
So. Actually, the funny thing you mentioned about people playing each other tomorrow is that Matt Barnes actually had an issue with the amount of minutes the Western Conference coach, Steve Kerr, who is the head coach of the number 1 ranked Golden State Warriors currently.
There you go.
And he played the Los Angeles Clippers, Chris Paul, a lot of minutes. And Matt Barnes, who's a fellow Clipper, took issue with that. And I think it was kind of tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he did take the time to tweet out like a possible conspiracy theory that maybe he's trying to wear Paul down.
Yeah.
I didn't take it that way.
Yeah.
Chris Paul wasn't one of those who trying. Players that did give an effort were LeBron James. He actually airballed a 3, though, from 35 feet. I don't know if anyone caught that. I thought that was funny.
Right.
James Harden was trying pretty hard. DeMarcus Cousins, I was pleasantly impressed with the effort he gave. He had 14 points in 18 minutes.
Okay.
And then, of course, Russell Westbrook, who is the MVP of the game. He ended up scoring 41 points, which was one short of the all-time record for an All-Star game set by Wilt Chamberlain, who had 42.
Okay.
But I'd also like to note that Russell Westbrook also set the record for most shots attempted in an All-Star game. So,
There you go.
kind of like hand in hand.
Yeah, I saw him get the end. I was awake for the end of it.
Oh, were you? Yeah, no, you mentioned to me that you actually fell asleep during the game.
Yes, I did.
And now that's something funny, too, because a lot today has been made out of that. The game only received a 5.5 rating, whereas it was competing with Saturday Night Live's 40th anniversary special, which got a 14+ rating.
Right.
So the NBA, while it is a fun event and it's high fashion, a lot of celebrities go, it's an event to show out, in a way. Is it getting the ratings, though? Because a 5.5, you'd hope for a mid-season spectacle.
Yeah, versus Saturday Night Live,
Right,
which I saw the clips. I didn't see the Saturday Night Live 40th. It was their 40th, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see it, but I saw some clips from it this morning on Good Morning America, and I guess they really grabbed the audience.
Oh, they did. It was great.
Yeah.
I watched both. Honestly, the highlight of the All-Star game, I hate to say it, but it was the halftime show. If you watched Ariana Grande and Nicki Minaj, that was the best. Yeah. That was as good as it got.
Okay. Well,
Great.
and anything else? That's pretty much
That covers the
anything
All-Star
that-
weekend. I'd just like to give a quick mention real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
The Green Bay Packers have reconciled their differences with longtime quarterback Brett Favre, and actually this season they announced they will be retiring the number 4 jersey at Lambeau Field finally.
Wow. Yeah, and Brett Favre he's really been a big contributor to the entire franchise.
Oh, yeah. He took them to some Super Bowls,
yes,
that's for
Definitely.
sure.
He back-to-back Super Bowls in the late 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. He won one of them, too, against the
Yeah.
Patriots. Lost
Oh,
the second
yeah.
one to Elway.
And came within an eyelash of getting back there with Minnesota.
Right,
So,
which
Oh,
was
yeah.
part of the problem of why it took so long to get his jersey retired, because
Yeah.
there was definitely some bitterness on both
oh,
ends.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good
Absolutely.
to know.
But his shirt is being retired. His jersey's being retired. He deserves it.
Yeah, it's
if
been
anything.
overdue.
Oh yeah, long overdue.
Yeah.
All right, Robert. Well,
Wow.
yes.
Good sports therapy today on this Monday morning where we are sharing this all across the world. And we are excited about our guest that's coming up, Minister Evelyn Arrington. But before we introduce our guest, we're going to take a brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with our special guest of today.
Hey,
Thanks,
folks,
Robert.
It's Ken here. If you or someone you know around the world has a small business, organization, or foundation you'd like to share with the Aim to Purpose audience, showcase it here on our segment of the show called Small Business Monday. The opportunities for people around the world to browse, buy, and use your products and services are endless. We pre-screen all businesses, organizations, and foundations for legitimacy, but because this is a free community service brought to our audience, it's at no cost to you as well. You heard it right. It's absolutely free, and you don't have to pay one penny. How do you like that? You just come on down to the studio and tell the story of your business, organization, or foundation and give it the praises and accolades you know it deserves. If you're in another part of the state or country, or if you're in another part of the world, you can easily call in or Skype in and do the same. So what are you waiting for? Contact the show's publicist, Shamika Brown, at www.divinebrownmedia.com. She can also be contacted at 1-818-533-8463. Or contact Louise Hicks at www.louisehicks.biz. She can also be contacted at 1-562-310-1495. Allow yourself to be seen by the global masses and allow your business to shine and grow because of the global masses. It's Small Business Monday, courtesy of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
Hello, world. We're back. Again, I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, along with my co-host, Kennon Wesley Mason. And I'd like to remind you our entertainment and community news commentator, Shamika Brown, will be back with us on March 2nd. She's out getting the scoops.
Yes.
So she will be returning on the 2nd.
And always feel free to call in. We want all of you to participate because this is an all-inclusive radio show. So please feel free to call in at area code 1-323-522-5482, and that's from anywhere around the world. 1-323-522-5482.
And we'd like to mention, I know for over here, since we are across the world, there are those who are celebrating Black History Month this month, and we just want to remind everybody you have all your community activities and that's going on and sharing on social media and across the world today, across sharing in Black History Month celebrations.
Yes, it is time to celebrate. For me, Black history is all year round. Usually when we hear of Black history, all we ever really hear is the same I Have a Dream speech, which is all good, but we have a great and grand history that very few people get to know about. So it's so as Black History Month moves out of February, it still keeps going on into March, April, May, and all the way throughout the rest of the year. So with that being said, we want to go ahead and are we ready to bring on our special guest for this edition?
Yes.
All right. And Minister Evelyn Jackson Arrington serves as the operations manager for MJWJ, responsible for the oversight of programming, production, and sales, reporting to MJWJ principals. She has served as office coordinator of NASA's Orion Vehicle Integration Office. She is a licensed and ordained minister and president of Gospel Works Live, and author of Cool Mournings, a collection of inspiring poems. She is a playwright, entrepreneur, poet, actress, songwriter, and certified event coordinator. She's also the mother of one son, and she's a grandmother. So let's give a warm welcome to our special guest for this edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Evelyn Arrington.
Hello. How are you today, Minister Arrington? How are you?
I'm doing just fine, and what about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I heard you all speak of Black history, and we did something very special today for Black history. We had people call in and give a tribute to an African-American hero, past or present. And it was just awesome. It was ringing off the wall, and you never think about the educator, the administrator, or the grandmother, or the mother or the sister that really inspired you. We had people call in and give a great tributes to people who have been heroes in their lives.
Right. Yeah, and it's good that we do recognize those that have made great contributions within African culture, period, whether you live in Africa or whether you live in Brazil or whether you live in Europe. There's black people all over the world. And there's black people all over the world, and all of them need to be praised for their efforts in making the world what it is, whether it's to a small degree or to the highest degree. It all matters.
Right, it does.
Oh yeah, and welcome. And Evelyn, I can you speak up a little bit louder, please?
Okay, I have this voice that doesn't travel too far, but I'll give it all I have.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, because I was having a little bit of time. Your volume wasn't up that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll work that.
Yeah. So if you could just kind of speak a little.
Yeah, we got her. We got her. We got her.
Sounds good to me. So we're going to talk about today with you. We're so excited. Cool Mournings and the enduring the perplexities of life. And that's not Mournings. It's Mournings. So explain that to us. Cool Mournings.
Well, Cool Mournings is a collection of poems and inspirations that have helped me in my life journey. And the reason I call it Cool Mournings is because we all suffer with trials and tribulations and hard times, but those moments take you to being a greater being. So I call them Cool Mournings because it teaches you. I mean, you learn how to surrender, and you learn how to call on the name of Jesus to help you overcome and to be able to persist. And so those mornings end up being cool because they got you to your purpose and they got you through that journey, that moment.
It sounds really, really great. And that's why we wanted to explain to the audience about Cool Mournings as opposed to Mournings, Mournings. And I know that we are talking to you all the way from Houston, Texas, which is good. Absolutely. We are talking from one coast to the next coast. We're on the West Coast here in Hollywood, California, and you're on the East Coast, but more in the southern part of the United States. So that's good. With the technology, we can just talk to people all over the world. And you are on globally today, speaking live to our global audience, which is great. And we know that life can be very perplexing at times, and we can go in and we get pain. A lot of us come through these pains and these atrocities in life. And from what you're telling us, we can overcome whatever we're going through. And sometimes we have these dark clouds, as we call it, and we allow them to get the best of us. And a lot of it has to do with not having any type of vision or awareness of who we are and how we can facilitate ourselves through life. So why help us to understand this, Minister Arrington, how we can not go through all of these perplexities. And we know that endurance does give us strength. And how do you take this pain away? Because we know across the world there are a lot of people in pain today.
Right. Well, Romans 5:3-5 tells us this. It says we can rejoice, too, when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they are good for us. They help us learn to endure. And endurance then develops strength of character in us. And character strengthens our confident expectation of salvation. So all those things work together to make you a stronger being, a more confident being, and a wiser being. And it builds your character. So those troubles and those trials that we go through, whatever it may be, in the end, they're a part of our journey that's going to help us get to where we ought to be.
Right, right. And as you said, whatever we go through, we have to learn to see that as helping us to get strength and see it as
Right.
lessons, really, because a lot of times we go through things and we think to ourselves, oh, I'm, and we also get something externally from other people that help us to go deeper into this perplexing life and complicate things and confuse things. And we don't have to do that because we do have strength. And there are those of us who we put too much emphasis sometimes on what others think about us. And I'm a firm believer when I have troubles and trials and tribulations, I always go to God in prayer and I pray about things and I ask for guidance. And I take them as lessons learned because I think through our life journey, everything that we go through is for a reason.
Right. It refines us to be sharper and stronger and better. We're refined. We have a whole different way of thinking, a whole different way of walking. Everything changes as we go through this, and we become pruned and perfected, and all to God's purpose. So, it's a work in us, that journey. And that's not to say that the journey is not difficult, because indeed it is. I talk about it and I say, wow, my life bears many, many burdens. The weight is almost too heavy sometimes, but we have to trust in God. It teaches us about faith and trust. And so we learn how to walk on anyhow. And another thing is that as we go through these things and we come to our purpose, it also teaches us that when we are moving forward in our life journey, that we got to keep our eyes focused, because we can find ourselves at any time with people speaking into our journey, those things that can confuse us.
Yeah, there's definitely most people have they don't believe that there is that one source that you can go to at any given time. It's always available to anyone and everyone at any given time.
Right.
We spend too much time worrying and wondering about what's going on currently and being in such a mode of stress and anxiety, and and actually many people come down on themselves because they feel like things aren't going the way that they think it should go, but not knowing at the same time that patience is one of the key virtues, and you have to know that that there is a higher source that is looking to serve. But you also have to know that you can't do it on your own. You have to have others, that are, I guess, with you on your journey, that have your support, that have your back.
And that is so true, because no matter what you may call that source, I choose to call that higher source for me God, and it helped me through some of my most trying times. And I know when it comes to spirituality and religion, in which I often say, and I've said this many times, I've said it on my show and I say it in conversations, that religion is one of the most divisive establishments in the world, not just here in America, because it is supposed to be about loving each other, but it seems that spirituality has taken on more of a love attachment to people than religion has, because religion seems to have divided so many people. And it's not, I talk about this sometimes, and I'll be having guests periodically too to talk about spirituality and how we all should be about loving one another and helping each other to grow. And stop all the confusion in life and the perplexities and how we have to endure, and it gives us more strength. And I remember when my son was sick, and I would pray often, and I won't say I don't know how often. I just would pray all the time and ask God to help me to endure, because it was a very perplexing time in my life. And I know sometimes people think about prayer and they'll say, well, I don't know how to pray. And do you have to know how to pray if you are a prayerful person?
Yeah. You don't have to be taught how to pray. All you have to do is put out a calling.
So what are your thoughts on that, Minister Evelyn, because Minister Arrington? Because sometimes people do say that I don't know how to pray, and some people don't pray because they don't believe, or they just feel uncomfortable praying. So, do you have to know how to pray?
Well, a lot of people believe that prayer is some great oratorical kind of speech. But prayer is simply a communication between you and God.
That's right.
A joining to God. And I'll tell you this, He knows what you're going to pray before you even pray it.
Yeah.
And one of the most simple prayers in the world, is, Father, help me. That is a prayer. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to have scripture. You're having a conversation with God. And you need to be able to tell Him what you need, to seek Him in your own way. So I don't agree with people who put criteria on prayers, because you have that. Now you might do that in a formal setting, then that's different. But in your own personal relationship with God, you should be able to communicate with Him in your own manner.
In your own manner, and that's right. In your own manner and in your own time. It can be while you're on your lunch break at work. I mean, whenever, because the God is everywhere. There's no place that God is not.
Right.
So
I'll tell you something about me. I pray all the time. I pray when I'm driving down the street. I pray when I walk outside. Just little things. And when I pray, it's not necessarily a prayer. It might be 2 words.
Yeah.
So true,
That's
Evelyn.
right.
I tell you.
You see a homeless man. I was driving down the street the other day. I saw a homeless man. And when I saw this man, I said, Lord, it's too cold for that man to be out here. That was a prayer. I was talking to God.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was communicating with Him. And He gave me the heart to reach out and help the man, which I did. So, I prefer to tell people, you communicate with God 24/7, on all your waking hours. You communicate with God, but there are times when you want to go in a closet and just have a long talk with Him, but you should stay in communication with Him all day.
And I hear what you're saying, and I agree, because sometimes I have appliances and things don't always work, and I just start praying, say, God, let this thing work, or whatever it is, and my prayers are answered. So I do believe that prayers are answered, because I know when my son was sick with cancer at 14, I prayed for him to survive. And I know this saying is, whenever you pray or whenever you want something, you ask for it without a doubt. And that goes without saying. And those things will happen, because sometimes we don't believe in what we're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't believe it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you come to a point in your life, as you were going through with your son, where the moment is critical, and you completely surrender to Him, and you give your all, and that is what Cool Mournings is all about. It's about complete surrender to Him, because that's a part of your journey, and all the things that you've gone through have led you there. look, we wouldn't praise God and we wouldn't completely surrender to Him if we never went through anything, because we would not have a need. We wouldn't feel we had a need.
That's
So
right.
the more need we have, the more perhaps we surrender.
And that is true. So, and some people don't understand that about surrendering. What does that really mean when you surrender yourself to something?
It means you give your all to it. You say, I'm totally committed. I give my all to you. Whatever your will is, whatever your way, I surrender my will completely to you, Lord.
So
who I am, what I say doesn't matter. I surrender it all to you, and I'm willing to follow you and go where you want me to go, and say and do what you want me to do.
Yeah, because there's a path laid down for all of us from the day we are conceived. There's a path laid out, and it may take some time for us to realize that, you know, there is a path for us to follow, and we need to follow it if we want to get to our place of ultimate happiness and health and vitality and all the great things that life has to offer. Many of us go down other paths because we don't know that there is that source that leads us into different directions, and on top of that, brings certain people and things into our life that's a part of that journey. No matter where, no matter which direction that you're going to go or that you choose to go, you're going to have an outcome. You know, it's the old law of cause and effect.
Right, and as you go on your journey, He's going to send you confirmations. You're going to find
That's right.
confirmations of what you're doing, and we have to not take that for granted, but pay attention. He'll confirm what you're doing. Now, as you go on that journey, and He brings people in your lives, you know, the Bible also tells us that we need to test the spirit, because some that come will come to unsettle you and knock you off course.
Yeah.
Those are the naysayers, the ones who don't believe in anything that you've done, the ones who can't see the vision, and the ones who perhaps themselves have never tried to walk their journey in regard to the vision that God has given them. And they're not going to come along with you and help you on yours.
Yeah.
And that's so true, because when you listen to the naysayers, you can miss out, because sometimes people are not, they get so confused and caught up in these perplexities in life, and they're listening to these outside influences instead of listening to your own inner voice. And I call it that Iona, my intuitive, operative, divine natural ability, because God gives all of us that divine natural ability, and we have to start letting those that GPS system, I call it my God power system, guide us and guide me to where I want to go. So I'm thinking, as long as I do that, because we do have gifts and talents, and life becomes confusing and complex because sometimes we allow these externals to come into our lives and tell us, you can't do this, you can't do that, and we allow others to kill our dreams and our hopes. And when you do that, all you're going to do is confuse yourself, and you're going to go and have a ball of confusion, and it's a puzzle there, and you got these missing pieces that cause your life to become so perplexing that you don't know which way to turn.
Right. I always say it gets you to a point where you need an interpreter because you're totally confused.
Yeah.
You know, and when I think, about this, I think of a journey, and I think of all the things that you go through, the perplexities of life. And if you have a choice, you can go through the things that you go through and wear them like a sack over your back, or you can surrender and move forward and free yourself from all that baggage.
Oh yeah, because stress is heavy. Stress is heavy, and stress weighs and wears you down. Many people don't realize that all of the stuff that we have anxieties for, all of the doubts and the fears of moving forward with your business, or moving forward in your relationships, or moving forward in whatever your endeavors of life. Not enough people know that there is a guiding light, if you will, that you have to have self-awareness about yourself to really know that there is something within that can guide you to that place of prosperity, or, if you will, heaven here on earth, whatever those endeavors may be.
Right, and with the understanding that everybody's idea of success or great achievement is not yours.
That's right. That's right.
What I call success is completely different than what someone else calls success.
That's right.
And say expound a little bit on more on that, because some people think that success is all about money. If you have all this money, you're successful.
Right.
And money is what we all need, of course, because that's what we have to survive on. But money is not all success.
Yeah.
And success is not all money.
Right. There's other components that go along with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying there's other components that go along with the financial aspect of life. There's much more to life than money. I mean, we all, you do need money to get things. That's your compensation for the works that you do and whatnot. But there's also other elements of life that may render certain people even greater happiness than money.
Yes, and when you talk about success, define that further, because, as I said, success is not all money, and money is not all success.
Well, I would define it this way. A lot of people aim for wealth and power, but if you notice, those people don't last long because there's no happiness, no joy found there.
Right.
Now, for me, success is being able to move through the moments. See, our life journey is a collection of different moments, all woven together to form a story.
Right.
And success for me is moving through those moments and trying to move through those moments in a way that's pleasing to God, no matter what anybody thinks. It's pleasing to God, and it perhaps, and if it's pleasing to God, it's gonna bear some fruit.
That's right.
And that fruit should be spiritual fruit. You know, you talk about the fruits of the Spirit, that should be displayed in everything you do. That's success. Success is to be able to be long-suffering and merciful, and and all the characteristics of the fruit of the Spirit. Success should be aimed at pleasing God, not aimed at pleasing people. It shouldn't be aimed at acquiring a certain social status or a certain amount of power. So those and people will look at you and say, "Wow, you're gifted, you're talented, and you can do all this, and look at where you are. You could have done so much more, but maybe that wasn't what I was called to do.
Right.
Maybe I'm called to move in a circle that I'm in and inspire the people around me. Because when you look at our lives, each individually, in the end, we are all a collection of stories.
That's right.
And those stories are supposed to inspire people around you as they build their journey. And so it should be a big collection of stories that all come together for the glory of God.
And I like that, what you said. So the collection of stories, and you said about success is the moments. I don't remember how you phrased it, but
moments that we move through.
Right. Success is moments that we move through. I like that, because we are all moving through moments in time. And
That's right.
and success comes in different ways depending on how you're defining it. Like you said, success to me
Right.
might not be the same as success to someone else. And success is not all about money, and that's where some people get caught up in the perplexities of life and don't know how to endure, because there are people that are billionaires and they're miserable people. So success is not all about the money, and money is not all about the success. And we have a short video too, and something else you said before we show the short video about free yourself. And that's the only way you're going to be able to endure these perplexities of life, and to gain the strength and the courage you need to facilitate yourself through life is be free. And I have this saying where I say the best gift you can give yourself is freedom. And that's freedom within your mind, body, and spirit.
Yes. Everyone, our natural design is to be free and liberated and happy. Success can be in varying degrees, and every accomplishment is a success, no matter how great or how small. And it doesn't have to be anything monetary.
Definitely not. But some people get caught up, I think, in the perplexities of life because they see success as having all this money. And that is not all it is. So we have a short video clip we want to show, and we're going to come back and talk about that. But first, let's take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and show the video clip. So hold on, Evelyn, just a little bit.
And we'll be right back after this message.
This edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, is brought to you by L. Hicks Consulting Services. When you want the best in business coaching, life coaching, or perhaps your organization, business, or company is in need of a dynamic speaker for an upcoming workshop or seminar, contact Louise Hicks for L. Hicks Consulting Services at 1-562-310-1495. From anywhere around the world, that's 1-562-310-1495. For more information about Louise Hicks and her consulting services, visit her website at www.louisehicks.biz. Again, that's www.louisehicks.biz. Or call 1-562-310-1495. L. Hicks Consulting Services, where professionalism is top priority.
Hello, world. We're back. And I'm Louise Hicks, your host, along with my co-host, Kennon Wesley Mason. And we are talking to Minister Evelyn Arrington all the way in Houston, Texas today. And we're talking about Cool Mournings, Mournings. And we're talking about enduring the perplexities of life, because we know there's so much chaos throughout the world today. And since we are global, we always strive to bring inspiring shows in order to help improve life and to bring people out of their confusion and to have a vision and to move forward in life, to get this joy, peace, and happiness that we all should be seeking in life. So we have a short video clip we're going to play right quick, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more to Evelyn Arrington.
Yes.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, "Wasting her time. She's too shy to put her best foot forward." Turned down by the Decca Recording Company, who said, "We don't like their sound, and guitar music is on the way out." A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died. He failed in business twice. He had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
Okay, that short video just goes to show how sometimes we can allow external situations to allow us to have a ball of confusion in our lives, and our lives can become very perplexed. And as the video ended, it says life equals risk. And that is so true, because as you live, there are risks as we take it, but we have to learn how to assess and be able to have what I often say, these 5 elements of my aim to purpose, which are vision, hope, faith, knowledge, and action. And it's about faith to me that helps you to realize that you don't allow these things to get in your way and worry you. The things that, what if these people had said that at what everybody told them about their life, like Lucille Ball. You don't have the talent.
Right.
The Beatles.
That's right.
The 2 presidents, Grant and Lincoln, Michael Jordan, all these people. I mean, they went through life, and people told them, Walt Disney, you don't have this. So we have to look within ourselves and realize. So, Minister, you want to address that? How life equals risk?
Well, yeah, it equals risk, but I truly believe that what we call failure is not necessarily failure. It's just a part of the journey.
That's right.
And when you don't get the result that you want, it's not a failure. It's not taking you back. It's moving you forward. Because it gets you closer to where you're going to end up in the end. And so when we believe what people say about failure, or we allow them to speak in our lives that you failed at this, when you're going to stop, don't they realize that you're actually getting closer to your goal?
Right.
Because each time what they call failure happens, it made you try something different that pushed you further ahead. And so it's all relative in how you look at it. And we're human beings. We are not designed to see the vision of who you are, where you're going. We're not designed to have that much knowledge. Only God is sovereign, and so He knows. But if you allow people to speak in your life, there will be a multitude of things that you won't do or won't complete.
Yeah. Failure, the things that would be considered failures, I just call them the experience of life that we're all to learn from. And that's what keeps you moving forward. Like you said, you try something. If it doesn't work this way, you try it another way until you find what works for you.
And that, how do you discard this, Evelyn? Discard all this baggage, because we walk around every day and we have all this baggage. It's like carrying a ton of luggage with you, like you're getting ready to go on a trip or something. Except it's going to be a trip of misery if you don't get rid of this baggage. So how do you discard these?
Well, in prayer.
Okay.
And in understanding that, look, we're only here for a limited time.
Right.
And so in the time that we're here, we can't afford to have things weigh us down to where we can't move forward. And so, we have to learn. I'm learning as I get older all the time to let it go and just keep moving forward. When things happen that are negative, I say, I'll come back and think about it, and I say, well, you know what? I wouldn't have liked for that to happen, but guess what? I trust God. In the end, He's the author. He's the author of my life, and I trust Him that if this happened at this moment, then He was very aware and allowed it to happen. And so I got to trust Him and keep moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we have to learn how to do.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easy, man. I mean, I wrote some poems that when things got so hard for me, that I had to, really go in a deep prayer to pray my way out of it. It's nothing easy about living. It's nothing easy about understanding the things that hurt you. You have to let it go. You got to get rid of the baggage, or you won't be able to move forward.
Right.
So
I think it's like this. Okay, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, the things that you do come across as failures, you look at them as an experience. It just makes you better as a person, and life will become easier for you as you know that you, like I said earlier, you do have that guiding light that will, if you follow it or when you follow it, life day by day becomes an easier life to live, because you'll follow those places in your journey that will take you to the next better place. Every accomplishment is a success, no matter how big or small. One small accomplishment will lead you to the next thing that you may want to accomplish, and it creates a domino effect of a journey of life that will make your life a lot easier in the long run, because like you said, we only have a short time here on this earth. Where are we going to go after? We don't know. But while we're here, it would be wise for all of us to make this life and the journey that goes along with it as pleasant as possible.
That's right. And let it go, as you said. I like that. Let it go.
And let it loose.
And let it loose and live in those moments, the successful moments, and let the baggage go, and just see it as a collection of stories. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a collection of stories, and I tell you something else too. If you spend your time focusing on your failure, how can you possibly focus on a solution?
Right. That's right.
I call it the pebble in your shoe. Okay, so something happened. Something that weighed you down, something negative in your life, or some failure, or some relationship problem, whatever it was that happened. Think of that thing that happened as a pebble in your shoe.
Yep.
And you're walking along with that pebble in your shoe. The longer the pebble stays there, the more it begins to hurt your feet.
That's right.
And you continue walking with that pedal, and it becomes so annoying that you start trying to put weight on the other foot to take some of the weight off the weight with the pebble. And so now you not only have maimed the foot that the pebble was in, now you're starting to maim the good foot. And then you keep going, and you still haven't let that pebble go. After a while, you're going to pull somebody over to help hold you up. And so now you've got the bad foot, you ruin the other one, and now you're putting all the weight on somebody else. So it affects your whole circle.
That's right.
You don't let go and move on.
I like that analogy, and we're pretty close to time now. So why don't you tell our listeners how to get in touch with you and give us a final thought on how to help inspire people to get that pebble out of your shoe. I like that.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name, once again, is Mr. Evelyn Arrington. Now, I have a website that you can go to. It's www.cool-mournings, MOURNINGS.org. And that is kind of it's a website, but it's also my personal memoir of my journeys in life. And I wrote it in the event that it could help somebody else. You know, so many times we see things where we talk about how hard it is or perplexities and so forth. But understand that's something that we all go through. And so I shared my journey story so that it could possibly help somebody else.
Yes, and that's Cool Mournings, MOURNINGS, cool-mournings.org.
Right.
Perfect.
And I have 2 collections of poetry that they are copyrighted.
Okay.
But I allow people to use them free, so you can go in and pull any piece of poetry you want to that would help you in your own life journey.
And that's on the coolmournings.org website?
Right, under Perplexities.
Under Perplexities.
And that's what we're talking about, perplexities. Getting those pebbles out of your shoe so you don't have to lean so much on somebody else. You can lean on yourself and be responsible because that's what this journey is all about, becoming self-responsible. So we have to wrap it up now. Evelyn, you have a final thought you want to say, and then we have to go. We got to get out.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show. My final thought is, let it go.
Let it go. I like that. Let it go.
Yes.
And with that being said, I'd like to tell our audience from around the globe, all of our shows are archived on Aim to Purpose Radio on YouTube, as well as we have on Facebook, Aim to Purpose, the radio show, and we also on Instagram, Twitter, and I have my own Facebook page. Go and like it. Like our Aim to Purpose, the radio show, and like Louise Hicks, page.
And on Twitter, it's at aimed to, the number 2, aimed to purpose. So you can tweet us.
Yes, tweet us. And with that being said, we are going to get out. Thank you, Evelyn, Minister Evelyn Arrington out of Houston, Texas, for being on our show today and inspiring us about cool mornings and enduring the perplexities of life. So take the pebble out of your shoe until next week. Your power lies within you. Let it loose.